Everyone. Welcome to the last session of our Index 25. Since it's the last session, it is also a little special because it is taken by somebody in-house. It's taken by Kishan, a part of the founding team. The session is called 10 Things You Didn't Know About GEO, and this isn't just an informative session. Think of it as Pepper's personal playbook, something that is based on consistent research and is backed by factual data. This is also a session that we had taken internally with the Pepper team for knowledge transfer, and it brings us immense joy to now present it to a larger audience. Kishan has been instrumental in introducing this category of GEO. He combines GEO strategy and a builder's mindset and helps enterprises know what they're doing wrong and how can they do it right. He will now take over. Please help me and we can together involve Kishan now. Kishan, over to you.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Am I audible with the audiences over here? Just give me 1 second. We're just setting up the camera and the screen. Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to the last, but not the least, kind of session where we're going to be presenting to you our personal insights from what we have been able to learn through when we've been. I mean, Pepper has been on the forefront of GEO. We've been one of the earliest users of LLMs in the world. And over these years, we've been able to kind of reverse engineer the way LLMs actually index content. And that's the reason why we thought it's the easiest way is to kind of present to you guys the 10 most happening findings that we have had about GEO as a whole. I'm not going to kind of spend more time telling you what it is, right? Jumping into it. I would first say that the way we look at LLMs is in the same format that Anirudh had mentioned in his opening chat today about visibility. Can LLMs see your content? Citability. Can LLMs trust your content? And retrievability. Can LLMs use your content to answer future questions? And when we have gone through over 110 B2B tech companies, we kind of did like a research where we went through all of these aspects of visibility, citability, and retrievability from these companies. We've seen the most common problems are literally the hygiene issues because of which they are not visible to LLMs or citable by LLMs, right? So if you see on my screen right now, these are the most primary insights about non-branded queries. People are not present on the same. People don't go multimodal in the formats of content. Most of the content is gated or hidden behind firewalls of sorts that is not visible to LLMs, fragmented site structures, lack of schema taggings, etc. So there's a bunch of reasons why we've identified. By the way, just for reference, I'm going to send these slides that I show you right now across to each one of you, so no worries. But the idea is to kind of give you a sense about where our insights come from. And then we have also married this with the actual mathematics of how LLMs rank content and together merged with these 10 findings for you. So over to the 10 things you may not know about AI search. The first one I want to tell is about the concept of entities. Now, unlike the traditional SEO world where keywords used to be the core currency of how indexing happened, in the AI search world, this currency has moved to what you call as entities. Entities are effectively smaller tokens being given tags in terms of places, happenings, timings, everything around the board, right? So for example, if there is one, and this is an example, I've already put it on the screen. If you see, there is a part that is being given a tag of a price, there is a part that is being given a tag of a number, a part that is being given a tag as an address. Now, whenever any kind of WH question is being asked, let's say a question is about where, an address will automatically get tagged to it, or a place would get tagged to it. If the question is about how much, then a number or a price would get tagged to it. You can all check out for this entity part in a link that I can put it on the chat over here. It's a link by Google where you can actually see about how is your content actually doing in terms of entities. So the first part is about entities. Entities are effectively equivalent of what keywords meant on SEO. Entities are the equivalent of it on GEO. The second part I want to mention is about the LLM retrieval score. Now, imagine this way, right? When you were actually ranking on SEO, there was a chunk of content that came up as is when someone searched for a similar set of keyword, and there used to be like a semantic matching on the number of times a keyword is being used in a piece of content, along with an EAT contextual framework that came in with, right? With LLMs, this mechanism is now depending on a lot of mathematics. That mathematics, if I were to simplify it in one sentence, is a combination of chunking, structure, schema, source weight, and trust signals. Chunking is effectively having TLDR summaries on the top of your content. Structure is about how you have structured your H2 and H1 tags, particularly. Schema, I don't need to mention more about it. All the SEOs on the call pretty much get it. Source weight and trust signals, I'm going to come in the coming slides in that case. But I want to mention like one small example. We worked with an insurance company where we converted the H2s, the heading twos of all of their product and category pages into interrogative questions. And you were able to see almost like a 10 to 11% uptick in the way we were getting cited on LLMs. So I'm just saying like any small effort in terms of the structuring and chunking kind of adds a lot of compounding value when it comes to LLM retrieval. Coming to the source weights I mentioned over there, the data that you see on the screen is like primary research done at Pepper, where we kind of backtracked on what matters, how much on different LLMs. The first takeaway over here is ChatGPT works a bit differently than Perplexity, works a bit differently than Gemini, works a bit differently than Claude. Now, what needs to be optimized for is what platforms are you actually optimizing for? According to us, if you're optimizing for ChatGPT and Google, the rest would probably be taken care of. Also, in terms of the amount of searches that are coming in for Perplexity and Claude are much, much lesser than as compared to ChatGPT, which is also much lesser as compared to Google, right? So this source weightage table in your context of a company, in your context of an industry might also differ a bit, but this is probably a sense to get around what matters, how much for LLMs, right? Over here, you could see authoritative list mentions kind of get in a lot more weightage. So you being present on, for a B2B company, let's say G2 or a Gartner or a Forrester, is of extremely high value for that matter. Followed by which is all of your Google reviews, your Trustpilot ratings, your Capterra ratings, etc. To followed by that is your social sentiments across Reddit, Quora, etc. Followed by that is your Wikipedia pages. Followed by that are your listicle pages, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. So a bunch of factors that come in. This is just an example of what matters, how much. This might be contextually very different for your brand. In case you need one of those, you can just reach out to any one of us and we can help you out with that. But I just wanted to kind of mention that there is there are kind of factors which kind of give different weightages for LLMs to index content. Now, this one is an interesting one, right? I'll give you an example for that. Maybe before I come to the maths, if I go on Google and I search for best credit cards for travel, probably I see a Chase and an Amex and a Bank of America come on top. But if I go and search for the same keyword, which is best credit card for travel, on any of the LLMs, most of the indexing over there would be done by the NerdWallets and the Bankrates of the world. The fundamental difference is the maths that I show you on the screen. There is a concept of an RRF score. This is more the retrieval mechanism, where 1 upon 60 plus your SERP positions total. So let's say, for example, if you're ranking just number 1 on Google, someone who is ranking at number 4, number 6, number 8, number 10 would rank better in LLMs than the one who's ranking number 1 on Google. And that is actually a combination of this mathematics. So if you see the example at the bottom, if on Google, if say brand A ranks number 1 on best project management tool, but brand B ranks number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7 on the surround keywords of sorts, brand B would be better on AI search than brand A. This is similar to the example I gave about best credit cards for travel on NerdWallet, Bankrates as compared to the bank websites directly. What I'm wanting to show via this slide is effectively the topical authority holds a lot of mathematical importance in terms of how LLMs index content. So for all the SEOs and the content people listening to this, your topical authority mechanism do have a maths and a science behind how LLMs look at you. The next part is about the age of content mattering a lot. We did one interesting experiment with one of our customers where we changed the date of the content with like changing a few words in the piece of content, and we refreshed the entire website in that way. Immediately some of those pieces started getting indexed, and especially ChatGPT gives the freshness of content a lot of weightage. So I would just put it this way, that AI search results are almost 25% fresher than Google, and ChatGPT does care about it a lot. I'm pretty sure you might have seen some of the other posts on LinkedIn about the similar concept, because a couple of larger companies also kind of publish their primary research around this fact. But I just wanted to kind of mention about the age of content really, really mattering a lot general when it comes to AI search. The next part I want to move up is about how your buyers are actually searching, or how your buyers are actually speaking to LLMs, right? And ChatGPT, by the way, recently launched a report about their primary data on how their chat is, like how do people actually chat with ChatGPT. People don't actually ask questions, they actually command. So it's more like, hey, act like an X person, or it's more like, give me a financial advisor's perspective on a particular topic, or it's more like compare A versus B, or it's more like summarize this for me, right? Now, is our content actually reverse engineered from there? Like, for example, a good idea is create a public AI prompting guide. Just like you have your llms.txt kind of a page, can you create like a public AI prompting guide where you actually tell about what kind of content on your website is kind of fitting in, what kind of prompts that you're really wanting people to look for when they search about your, where you wanting to be getting, where you want to get indexed, right? Another good part is how do you structure the titles of your content? Like, for example, an expert's take on a particular topic, or a financial advisor's guide on a particular topic. So effectively, we try to reverse engineer on how people are searching on LLMs. We at Pepper have done like a bunch of primary research on this, because we have gone through some few 100,000 open chats that are publicly live on Google from multiple other platforms in general. And those chats together have come in, and we have kind of derived primary data from there on saying, what are people actually searching for? How do people command in a particular geography, in a particular language, in a particular industry? And then backtrack that into making a primary data set on saying, hey, you know what? You need to shape your content in a particular way that people are actually searching for. Currently, there is no equivalent of a search console for these LLMs, so you don't exactly get to know about what are people exactly searching, like equivalent of keywords as prompts or questions. But the only thing we can do is gather the most amount of our publicly available data and backtrack that into your content strategy as a whole. Our next part I want to mention is about Reddit and LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure you all know about Reddit, and it's become very important. And that's especially about, there was like a public deal between Reddit and OpenAI, where Reddit has opened up all of their questions up to OpenAI. So OpenAI can now scrape in Reddit views, and it's almost the second or the third most indexed source when it comes to OpenAI and Gemini. But the most important part I would also want to mention about is LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure you all might have seen the world where people used to get like top voices on LinkedIn. And if you remember, you used to answer certain questions on certain topics, because of which you used to get the top voices batch on LinkedIn, right? And just for reference, that entire experiment was a combination of LinkedIn wanting to get the most amount of public data in a Q&A format for some other project, which probably didn't go through, or I don't have more details on that. But that project entirely has also been kind of fed to all the LLMs. So I was giving this example in the last session we had with Linda and Jordan, Linda from NVIDIA, Jordan from Previsible, where I was telling about me doing an experiment where we actually made a word which doesn't exist in the world, wrote a LinkedIn Pulse article about it, and the word actually got indexed on most of the LLMs, and now the word is actually there in the world, but the word doesn't exist. Like, I made the word myself. So the speed at which LinkedIn Pulse articles get ranked is like unparalleled. I mean, I would say if it's a niche category, go fast and you'd be able to kind of kill it well. I did the same for Index 2025, this conference. If you go and search for what's the world's first AI search conference, you'll find us. If you go and search for what are the most relevant AI search conferences I need to be a part of, you'll definitely find Index in that. So there are a bunch of places we've already got Index in that case, right? The next part I want to mention about is PR becoming a new growth marketing function. We have never looked at PR as a growth marketing function. It mostly is a corporate communication function at times. We have had one of our CMO customers telling us that they spend close to a few $100,000 every quarter on Newswire nowadays, because that is giving them the best amount of ROI when it comes to GEO. So if I were to put it numerically, 61% of the LLM responses are influenced by mentioned and trusted editorial sources, and these can be regional, these can be national. If not, I mean, I would always optimize for like a quantity versus quality kind of a thing. I wouldn't always say that the best quality would always win. It needs to be like a perfect combination that works in your industry of sorts. But just to point it out, PR is now to become a growth marketing function in brands. Last but not the least is video content for the win. YouTube is almost the second most cited domain across LLMs if you normalize the weightages across all LLMs. And if you go on Perplexity and see, you also find a video section right now. ChatGPT is kind of working really well on video. Sora 2 being launched recently in that case, and it's going to kind of scale up like anything. If you see all the super intelligence engineers that Meta hired from OpenAI, just look at their profiles. They're all people who build multimodal content on the go. And to the bigger part, Google has one thing that most LLMs don't, which is YouTube. And YouTube content gets indexed really fast. We've seen that across channels. We've seen that across multimodal customers whom we create content for. And that got topped up with the recent news of Instagram content now being searchable on Google. So as soon as you make an Instagram reel or you make an Instagram post, that can come up in a Google search feed, which used to not be the case a few months ago. All of these combined together, what we really want to kind of give you an actionable insight is convert the top most performing content on your website into videos. It can be a bunch of AI videos, it can be a bunch of P2C videos, it can be a bunch of videos. Do that well, put in the captions, make the descriptions well, publish it on YouTube, publish it on socials. You would find like an uptick on your LLM search in general. So that's last but not the least insight for video content for the win. And I would move to the last one, which a lot of people don't kind of relate to when they're thinking about GEO, but you need to maintain your ORM like never before, because LLMs as a whole can get manipulated both positively and negatively when it comes to information about you as a brand. Just the part being once polluted, it's very difficult to get out of it. So right now there is not like a clear playbook that's available in the market, but there is definitely that brands have seen across this category. I would also put it this way, especially for brands that kind of work in hospitality, for brands that work on review mechanisms in general, please make sure you're taking care of this right, because LLMs do get influenced by community insights are broad, and also with the reviews and insights from there. So make sure you're taking care of it, and that can have like a replication, both positive and negative effects. So if it's positive reviews, you definitely go up, and if it's negative ones, then you definitely come down. The point I want to mention is these are extremely important. Probably coming to the last part of the conversation, I love this quote. This is something that we keep on saying internally at Pepper, that once in a generation, technology doesn't just improve, it changes the very way we see the world. And that is what is happening to search right now. I know we started these sessions today morning on the same note. I probably moved to probably the last part of our conversation. I would want to kind of end this with the vote of thanks in a way. I would say on behalf of the entire Pepper team, I want to extend like a heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you for joining us at Index 25. We thought of doing the world's first AI search conference, and I feel super happy towards the end that we are almost on the closure of it. What started as an idea has today brought together over 2,000 plus registrants, 30 plus incredible speakers, and some of the world's most influential company. I was just checking in and joking with my team. The combined net worth of all companies who join in at Pepper today probably crosses over $50 billion, representing this stage. And probably that scale and diversity of voices just show how important this as a moment is for us, the GEO moment, the AEO moment, the AI search moment, the search everywhere optimization moment, whatever you want to call it. But this is a revolution we are all seeking in the industry. Extremely grateful to all the sharing their time and insights and experiences, and to all the attendees for leaning into the curiosity, questions, and energy throughout the day. If there's just one takeaway from Index 25, it's that GEO, generative engine optimization, AEO isn't just the next buzzword. It's going to be kind of a new rule book for how brands will be discovered, trusted, and chosen in the AI first world. We are in the transition, and it's extremely important for us to learn, because probably the people who are in the transition of a revolution are the ones who actually define how the next generation is going to take that up. So thank you once again for being a part of this journey. We can't wait to see what you all build from here. In case we can help you in any ways, do reach out to us. In case you have not visited the Pepper Geo Clinic, do take a visit. In case you want to just speak with us, you don't want to buy anything, but you want to discuss things up, do hit us up, and we'll all see you at the next index. But please stay in touch, keep up with all the great work you guys have been doing, and thank you so much once again. Thank you so much, guys. With this, I kind of close out on Index 25. Thank you once again.